to the show. It's Ken Dunn, and I'm excited for a very special fiction episode of Books with Ken. Today, I'm joined by Cindy Stone from Toronto, Canada, and she's the author of a book that is just releasing to the world right now called Scorpion. Cindy, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Ken. I'm really excited to talk to you about the book.
Well, I've not only read it myself, but I've passed it on to a couple young women that I know that often read books for me, and the feedback has been amazing. Cindy, let's jump right into it. I'd love to know what Scorpion's about.
Well, basically it's a book that is a romance, an adventure story. It's got Eastern mysticism and martial arts and secret societies along with a global conspiracy. But what's at the heart of this book is a young woman's empowerment. The young woman, Avery Adams, grew up in New York City with an incredibly wealthy and very powerful father. Her father wields global influence, and so she was dominated by him. And in a chance meeting, she discovers these martial artists, these young men, who she becomes dragged into this shadowy martial arts world. And it's also very male-dominated. So we watch her evolve throughout this book, her own sense of internal power and how she's going to deal in these worlds of very powerful men.
Now, I know we don't want to give away the super exciting conclusion of this book, but we talked before the show about the hero's journey and how in fiction it's crucial to follow that age-old format, because that's the way readers want to consume good fiction, especially in this genre. Avery is the hero, obviously. Does she have some highs and lows and troubles in her life?
Oh, she most certainly does. And I love the hero's journey as a mythical structure for story. And so I use it quite extensively in my writing. And of course, Avery follows the hero's journey. She starts in the ordinary world. Everything's just, normal and expected. And she is disillusioned and depressed, but it's her normal world. And then very quickly she gets dragged into this fascinating, interesting world with these martial artists with a bunch of people who are vying for taking these ancient mystical stones. And what happens throughout this story is Avery is taught by mentors. Avery has all kinds of situations that pull her back and pull her down, and she is the reluctant hero. She didn't want any of this. She's just been dragged into it and found herself into it, and she has to deal. And I think that's where her power comes from.
So I was really blessed and honored to be a guest at a pre-launch book event that you had in Toronto, Canada just a few weeks ago, and was just completely impressed by the hundreds of people that showed up, and I know we sold a lot of books that night.
Yes.
I couldn't tell from your guests. Now I know, of course, there were a lot of old friends there, so I didn't want to pre-assume.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't tell who the book was written for. And I have an understanding from reading it myself who I think, but I'd love to hear from you. Who is that book for?
Well, originally I wrote it for young women. I wanted to inspire them to discover more about life and to maybe find some empowerment in internal martial arts, meditation, qigong, and that's who I originally wrote the book for, to inspire young people to have, to find some powerful and positive ways of developing themselves in this world. And what I'm finding is it's not just young women who are loving the book, it's also young men and older men and women as well, really enjoying the story and all the levels that it's written on.
Because Avery, the hero in the story, may be a woman, but she does some butt kicking.
She does. And she's just learning. And this is the beginning of the series, so she has some growth and evolution to go through.
Well, obviously, I intentionally said that, explained and announced the title that way at the beginning because this is the first of the Myriad series. So
yes.
Talk to readers about what they can expect in volumes 2 and 3.
Oh, well, if I tell you, I will have to kill you. The volumes 2 and 3, and it may go on from there. It is a continuation of the characters, but they go through so many new and different lands and different aspects of evolution of themselves as human beings and as martial artists and as powerful people learning how to do good in the world. I dedicated the book to all people who are a force for good in this world. And that's who these characters are becoming. And so we can expect all kinds of adventures that we hadn't seen yet, and some history of where the stones came from. And it's just really another nice and wild ride.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm on Books with Ken this morning with Cindy Stone. She's got an amazing new book coming out. It's called Scorpion, and it's part of the Myriad series, and you've got to check it out. I'm not normally a fiction reader, but I read it from cover to cover. It's a real page-turner, and in the crowded space of fiction books, every once in a while, one jumps out that touches people's hearts and engages their imaginations, and Scorpion definitely does that. Cindy, any final things you'd like to share with my readers?
Well, it's interesting that you said that you don't normally read fiction because I started out as a non-fiction writer and a writer of self-help books because I'm a therapist. And so that's my mission is to inspire people and to lead them and inspire them maybe to find out more about Taoist philosophy and meditation and martial arts, and in a way enjoying it in a great story, so that the lessons are just naturally integrated.
Albeit a fiction fantasy book, there are definitely a lot of reality in things like meditation and Taoism that you've left in the book in context. I could see your love for those sciences. Well, Cindy, I really appreciate you being on the call. To all of you that are watching, thousands of people watch every episode of Books with Ken. We know that the love for reading is alive and well. If you want to pick up a copy of Scorpion, then make sure you click on the link. You know that in the show notes that are above the video or beside the video, they're around me somewhere. You're going to find a link to Scorpion. Cindy is offering a bit of a discount through her publisher as the book launches, and I'm sure you're going to love this. If you enjoy fiction, Scorpion is your next read.
Thanks so much for having me, Ken.
You're welcome.